Have you ever wondered how much harm we are causing to our oceans? It's a question that lies at the heart of our modern world, a world that is sadly marked by the scars of pollution. One of the leading culprits of this environmental crisis is ocean pollution, a shadowy villain that lurks beneath the waves. Two of the most significant contributors to ocean pollution are oil waste and urban waste. Oil waste, the black gold that powers our world, is a double-edged sword. When it leaks into our oceans, it forms slicks that suffocate marine life and destroy their habitats. It's a silent killer that operates on a scale that's hard to comprehend. On the other hand, we have urban waste, the discarded remnants of our daily lives. From the plastic bags we use at the grocery store to the soda cans we toss away, these seemingly harmless items can have a devastating impact on our oceans. They float on the surface, sink to the depths, and break down into microplastics that infiltrate every level of the marine food chain. But the damage doesn't stop at the water's edge. These pollutants can also wreak havoc on human health. Consuming seafood tainted with toxins can lead to a host of health issues, ranging from digestive problems to neurological disorders. Not to mention, the loss of marine biodiversity can destabilize ecosystems and disrupt the balance of life on Earth. The plight of our oceans is a stark reminder of the consequences of our actions, both as individuals and as a collective. It's a complex issue, one that requires our immediate attention and action. However, it's not all doom and gloom. With concerted efforts, we can mitigate the impacts of ocean pollution and pave the way for a healthier, more sustainable future. We've only scratched the surface of this pressing issue. The scale of the problem is vast, the consequences dire. But it's important to remember that knowledge is power. The more we understand about the causes and effects of ocean pollution, the better equipped we are to make a difference. In fact, the numbers might be more frightening than you think. Imagine if 4.9 million barrels of oil were dumped into our oceans. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's not a figment of imagination. It's a harsh reality we've faced. And one of the most infamous instances was during the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. The spill not only poisoned the ocean but also devastated the marine ecosystem, turning the once vibrant Gulf of Mexico into a toxic soup. Oil spills are a grim part of our world's reality. They occur more frequently than we'd like to believe. Each year, an estimated 130,000 to 230,000 metric tons of oil spill into our oceans. That's the equivalent of over 1,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools filled with oil each year. These spills, whether they're from tanker accidents, offshore drilling mishaps, or even leaks from everyday vessels, have a crippling impact on our oceans. The oil forms a thick sludge on the water's surface, blocking sunlight and oxygen from reaching marine life below. This sludge is lethal to many forms of oceanic life, from the tiniest plankton to the largest whales. The damage doesn't stop there. Oil spills can wipe out entire colonies of seabirds as the oil sticks to their feathers, making it impossible for them to fly or stay warm. It also contaminates their food supply, leading to starvation and malnutrition. The devastating effects of oil spills extend far beyond the immediate aftermath. They linger for years, even decades, disrupting the balance of marine ecosystems, causing long-term harm to species and their habitats. Recovery is a slow, painstaking process, and in the worst cases, some species may never fully recover. It's not just the major spills that are a problem, but the constant, unnoticed trickling of oil into our seas. Small leaks from ships and offshore platforms, coupled with the illegal dumping of oil waste, contribute to a chronic pollution problem that is slowly choking our oceans. This constant drip of oil might not make headlines, but its impact is no less significant. It's not just the major spills that are a problem, but the constant, unnoticed trickling of oil into our seas. Did you know that every year about 8 million tons of plastic waste escapes into the oceans from coastal nations? Let's pause for a moment and think about the magnitude of that statement. It's a staggering amount, equivalent to 5 grocery bags filled with plastic for every foot of coastline in the world. Now imagine that amount piling up year after year. That's the reality we're dealing with. The urban waste nightmare is not just a figment of an environmentalist's imagination. It's real, it's present, and it's causing havoc in our oceans. This waste, predominantly plastic, is causing a range of problems for marine life. Larger items such as plastic bags, bottles, and straws can entangle marine animals, often leading to serious injuries or even death. But it's not just the large items causing harm. Smaller pieces of plastic, known as microplastics, are equally, if not more, dangerous. These tiny particles, often invisible to the naked eye, are ingested by marine creatures, from tiny plankton to massive whales. They fill the stomachs of these creatures, giving them a false sense of fullness, which can lead to starvation and death. And it doesn't stop there. These microplastics are finding their way into our food chain. They're consumed by fish, which are then caught and consumed by humans. The potential health implications of this are still largely unknown, but the thought alone is enough to send chills down one's spine. The tragedy of this urban waste nightmare is that it is largely preventable. The majority of this waste comes from single-use plastics that we use for mere minutes before discarding. These items then persist in the environment for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. We're creating a problem that future generations will be left to deal with, and it's high time we took responsibility. Our oceans are becoming a dumping ground for our waste, and the creatures that call it home are paying the price. Our oceans are turning into a soup of plastic, and we are the chefs. So, what happens if we continue on this path of pollution? Imagine a world where our oceans are no longer teeming with life, but instead are filled with plastic, oil, and other pollutants. A world where the once vibrant coral reefs are nothing more than bleached skeletons, robbed of their colors and life. It may sound like a dystopian tale, but if we continue down this path of unchecked pollution, this could be our reality. Marine life is incredibly resilient, but even they have their limits. As more and more pollutants seep into our oceans, we push marine organisms to these limits and beyond. From the smallest plankton to the largest whales, no creature is immune to the effects of pollution. Populations dwindle, species go extinct, and the intricate web of life that exists beneath the waves starts to unravel. Coastal communities, too, bear the brunt of this pollution. As marine life diminishes, so too do the livelihoods of those who rely on the sea. Fishing industries collapse, tourism declines, and the economic stability of these regions is threatened. But it doesn't stop there. The effects of ocean pollution reach far beyond the coastlines. Our global health is also at risk. The ocean acts as a crucial buffer, absorbing carbon dioxide and helping to regulate our climate. But as pollution increases, the ocean's ability to perform these vital functions diminishes. This could lead to more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and other environmental changes that could have devastating effects on human health and survival. Scientific studies paint a bleak picture of this potential future. Predictions suggest that if pollution continues at its current rate, by the year 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish. This is a future we cannot afford to ignore. The future looks grim if we don't change our ways. But remember, it's not too late to turn the tide. The ocean is resilient, and with our help, it can recover. We just need to take action now, before it's too late. But it's not too late to turn the tide. As overwhelming as the problem of ocean pollution may seem, there are indeed solutions within our grasp. We can begin by making improvements to our waste management systems. Instead of allowing our waste to become a burden to our oceans, we can transform it into a resource. Innovative technologies are emerging that can convert waste into energy, reducing the need for landfills and incineration. Meanwhile, we must also rethink our packaging. The disposable culture of today has led to an over-reliance on single-use plastics, many of which find their way into the sea. Companies are exploring alternatives, from biodegradable materials to returnable, reusable packaging. By supporting these efforts, we can help to reduce the amount of plastic entering our oceans. But perhaps the most powerful tool we have in the fight against ocean pollution is policy change. By advocating for stricter regulations on oil drilling and waste disposal, we can hold corporations accountable for their actions. We can push for the implementation of cleanup initiatives and the protection of marine sanctuaries. And of course, we must not underestimate the power of individual action. Each of us can make a difference in our daily lives. We can reduce our use of plastic by choosing reusable bags, bottles, and containers. We can participate in beach cleanups or simply pick up litter when we see it. We can educate others about the plight of our oceans and encourage them to do their part. Supporting clean ocean initiatives is another way to make an impact. Whether it's donating to a nonprofit organization, volunteering your time, or spreading the word about their efforts, every action matters. Remember, the ocean is not just a vast, unfeeling body of water. It is a living, breathing entity that sustains all life on Earth. And right now, it needs our help. The health of our oceans is in our hands. It's time to act.